Hey libs, do you not realize yet? MAGA will never give you credit. Biden could have ripped out Hunter's heart live on TV, and they'd still say they support Trump because he's the only honest politician. Biden doesn't have to sacrifice his son for this fantasy of fair MAGAs. That's not it. I'm totally fine with Biden doing that. I'm saying that you don't have to stand behind Biden doing this. As like the people who aren't
You
Biden.
also don't have to cry about Biden doing it. Who cares?
Sure.
That's what he's saying
sure.
to the libs. To the libs
I'll actually say
complaining.
true. You actually don't have to say, "Oh, you need to disavow anybody who doesn't disavow."
So you
this.
don't
I
have
think
to
that's also
virtue
gay.
signal.
I think you are the biggest in the world if you come out from this and you go, "That's so awesome that Joe did that. Let's go crackheads. Let's go tax evasion. Let's go gun crimes." I think you are a if you do that. But I'm sure a lot of people will.
And I think you have zero sense of humor if you can't see someone say, "Let's go crackheads." And you're like, "Oh, this person doesn't take politics seriously. You see, they don't care when their side does something up."
Okay, wait. When would you ever pardon somebody ever?
Are you gonna argue that he was really like actually the victim of political machinations? So it's like it is a bad situation. Yeah, I'm fine with that. The issue is him saying that he wouldn't, right? Repeatedly.
Sorry, that was dumb. You probably shouldn't have said that.
Sure. If you
But
want me
I
to
don't know how
argue
that
that
makes
the pardon is bad, I think the pardon. By the way, this is the issue. I think this part of the pardon, if I'm reading it correctly, is what would upset me. I think him being pardoned for those crimes is fine. It lines up with the reasoning he has. A blanket pardon over any crimes he's committed over 11 years, even ones he hasn't admitted to, I think that's wrong. I think he should have to sign a confession of anything he wants to be absolved of.
So this is my guess. I'm going to be totally honest. I haven't read
That it's
legal
procedural and
analysis.
it has to be that way.
Not procedural or that it has to be that way, but that if the assumption is that Hunter Biden is being politically persecuted, that the reason why they would give him a blanket pardon is because if they pardon him for one thing, the Republicans will just try to find something else and then charge and convict him for that, right? That'd be my guess. So
Yep.
maybe like I think prostitution is legal in the U.S., right? Maybe they go back to those same tapes and they see that one girl like, oh, she was a prostitute and he paid her, and now we're going to prosecute him for that next, right? So it's like just blanket pardon the whole time period because fuck these people because they know they're going to try to find something else. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, well, I see them wanting to do that, but I think he should have to admit to the things he did that he could be pardoned. Like he could be pardoned.
That would be insane.
I think that's crazy to just do.
Like, is it going to be okay? Well, on January 15th,
hypothetically, there's no
I drove
evidence.
drunk on February 37th, or not the fuck Jesus, on February 17th, 2017. I had an unpaid parking ticket that I lied about my registration. Like, is it going to be like every single potential crime that I jaywalked? I smoked crack.
That he needs a pardon
marijuana.
Right? That he needs like a pardon.
That would be but that would theoretically be literally every single possible crime that he could have ever committed. That would be like how could you ever like that would be an insane like here's a list of 7 like anybody's probably broken dozens of federal crimes depending upon what you do, right? Like if you do drugs at all,
sure. Like
if you smoke marijuana, you're always breaking the law, federal law, even if you're in a state where it's decriminalized. Yep. So would he turn in like a list of like here's the 6,000 times in these 10 years where I ever smoked weed or did crack or did anything else? I think that's an insane demand.
I realize that, but here's the thing. For me personally, it's like, I think he was absolutely like super ethically like sweaty in terms of the stuff he did in Ukraine, like trading on his dad's name. I don't think Joe knew. I don't think Joe was involved. I don't think there's any crime Joe committed. But like, at least there's enough like, for me, like,
what was he ethically sweaty?
I think they absolutely hired him at that company because of his ties to the president. I don't think they got anything out of it. I think you watched The Wire, right? When you talk about Clay Davis.
Wait, what's wrong? What would be wrong with him?
Wait,
what would be wrong with them hiring him because his dad is the president?
Obviously, that's like a conflict of interest for Joe to be involved in Ukrainian politics.
Hey, wait, it'd be a conflict of interest for Joe for sure, but for Hunter Biden?
I think it's bad to put your dad in that position. No,
he's not putting his dad in that position. If his dad is the president, of course that's going to give him some level of fame or access to people or whatever. If Joe is like doing bad things on that, then I would agree that would be really bad. But I don't think Hunter being a consultant or whatever because his dad is like, what's the alternative? Does he have to never take any job ever where somebody might look favorably upon the fact? Because like every single consulting job he could ever
No,
take is.
I would just say probably like with Ukraine, given that he was working for a company that was like, I can't go through the whole thing like Rob Noah can, but my general take there is that I think it's a little suspect that he was working for a company that was being investigated, and Joe had direct like eyes and ears in that whole thing, right? I think it's weird. Did he do anything unethical? This is not a guarantee. It's just like a weird thing. Like he could have gone to, like he was in China. I don't know that there's any evidence that weird shit happened in China, right? I think the Ukraine
like
situation
if you want to do this standard, then you're basically saying that the son of the president, he can't do consulting for literally any international company ever. Is that the standard?
I don't think that's the standard. I would have to look at Hunter's resume to see like how close it is and how closely that aligns with things. Because from what I recall, he was kind of had his drug binge before that, and then he was sort of disgraced, and then he got hired.
Wait, doesn't Hunter Biden have like a track record of doing like this? It's not like this was his first job. Like it just randomly happened to be the consulting board of the Burisma stuff. Like he was a decently established billionaire, or not billionaire, I'm sorry, like businessman before that, no?
I think he had, so him and his uncle ran a like a political consulting firm, I believe. Like Joe's brother, right?
Okay.
So yeah, like he did have a track record, but I thought he
By
kind of
1998, Hunter Biden had risen to the rank of executive vice president of a bank holding company. This is in 98. So he's got it's not like he just randomly out of nowhere.
He's definitely done business.
And,
yeah. I'm not saying he hasn't done business. I'm saying that he kind of had like a public like drunk binge breakdown. Like just,
wait,
I think 2 years before this, didn't he? Wasn't this like why he missed his brother's funeral and shit?
I could be wrong, but did anybody know about this? Or, I'm sorry, did anybody care about this prior to Republicans trying to do the?
I feel like you would. I feel like you would care about it if you were looking to hire him, right?
I don't know. It depends on what the breakdown was or whatever. Like when we say breakdown, like what happened? Like if he was just like caught smoking crack, I don't know if anybody cares. How many people in like law firms and shit are doing like cocaine or other stimulants or whatever? Like
I might not know the timeline well enough, but yeah, like I'm not saying that he had no qualifications. I think from what I'd read, and again, this is a while back, it seemed a little bit suspect that he was getting hired by this company and that they'd be hiring the son of the person that they were essentially like the son of the person who had oversight on the prosecutor who's investigating them.
Well, Biden didn't have any oversight. Biden had that wasn't like Biden's job was to go up Shokin or whatever, right? Biden was just working.
Had oversight. He just didn't do anything improper. He just followed
I don't think Biden
broadly
had any
what all of the
oversight.
people involved wanted to have happen there.
Which was like the whole European Union.
Yes. I don't think Joe did anything wrong there. But I think that's probably
but it's not
why
even
he was
Joe doing
hired.
anything wrong. It's like Joe didn't even have the power to do anything wrong. I don't even think Joe could have if he wanted to.
Okay.
Like he's basically just delivering messages as vice president from Obama, or like working, I guess, on his behalf or whatever.
I don't think he was doing any. I don't think there was any room for him to do anything individually there. I agree with you.
I feel like there's a disagreement on like matters of fact, because I don't disagree with you if I feel like you have a different set of facts in your head, but the facts as they are in my head seems like it would prohibit Hunter from working literally any job ever in any capacity in any foreign company. Because we could say the same thing, like imagine if Hunter Biden was working, on the executive board on a firm in China when we're like in a trade war with China, and Biden is like the president. Like I feel like you could say, or the vice president actually. Like I feel you could make this argument for every single foreign place ever. And then obviously the thing I'm going to go on top of that is all of this is laughable when Kushner is working for firms taking billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, when Trump,
Ivanka getting her.
Trump is 100% worse.
Elon Musk, times 10. Like there's
China?
I wouldn't even come close to any of that.
Yeah, I think this is like sort of the. I mean, unfortunately, I think it's just sort of the death of like honesty and decency and norms in your country. And I like Donald Trump's driving all of it. So the start was him, but I'm saying that like this is sort of the other side saying, yeah, we can't continue to toe this line. Sorry, okay, but also I should say that's only the case if Democrats don't take this free. I think Joe Biden's throwing them a free bone. He's just saying like, yeah, I'm just gonna say I lied and pardon my son. Fuck whatever you want. Like you can go after me. I don't care.
Hold on. I feel like this is a guy who's 40 years old and he's got an adversary who's 40 years old, and his 40-year-old adversary is 6-year-olds. And then the guy who's 40 years old is like, okay, I know that I said I would never date a girl 2 years younger than me, but I'm going to date this chick who's 32. And now you're like, oh, there it is. See? Yep, there it is. Same shit. Yep, there it is. He said he wasn't going to do it, and there he goes. Wow, absolutely disgusting, horrible. They're both the same, basically, as the other dude like plows his way from like one to the next. And I was like, there they are. Yep, 32 years old. He said he'd never date younger than 38, and there you go. Like, it's just so crazy to me. Like,
I'd say it's more like 16 or 17, and he's going like, I have to fuck these 17-year-olds to save the country. And it's like, well, I don't. I'm not sure we have
guy
to.
Who's like clearly
maybe
a victim of political prosecution. A guy who did drugs and has guns.
I think personally that it's more that he was running a full campaign saying, I would never do this. I would never do this. Of course I trust the law and order in this country. Of course I do. That Democrats have run on this, trusting the institutions for months, years now.
Running a full campaign?
Yes.
I don't think he ran a full campaign.
He ran a
statement about like, oh, I don't think I won't pardon Hunter. It was it's not like he was elected on that.
I don't think it was a thing. Sorry. Listen, I don't think that bit of that could be hyperbole there. He ran specifically, was asked this question directly, and lied about it, right?
He
I don't want to focus in on the full campaign statement just because, sometimes this happens where it's like totally like
you can't. Yeah, you cannot call that a lie. You can say that he went back on his promise. That's what you can say.
Well, I mean,
because at that moment in time, you can't tell if he was lying, right? At that moment in time, he probably thinks that he's going to get a fair trial for his kid. And then after the election happens, that maybe his mind gets changed.
When did his kid get convicted? Because he made the statement in June.
I just didn't realize how this was. They had like a plea deal and everything. He was going to do like diversion classes for the gun charges, and then like the judge threw all of it out. I didn't realize that this David Weiss guy he's a political appointee, or he was appointed as a judge, not a judge. I'm so sorry. He was a U.S. attorney that was appointed by Donald Trump, and he's the guy that's like pushing for to drop the plea deal and everything else. This is like.
Oh, he's like the special investigator?
I think the issue here is that the issue for like just making that claim, I think, is something like I think Merrick Garland technically appointed him special prosecutor for this case, or I can't remember. Pisco would know the term. It was something.
What up?
Did you ever?
Pisco,
I made a huge mistake. Did you ever look into the Ken Starr stuff? Are you familiar with the 3-year witch hunt they went through for Bill Clinton?
Witch hunt, bro. They were going after his.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I hadn't read anything really about like the Hunter Biden case, bro. They used cocaine residue on a gun case and statements from his memoir to go after him to do charges for the gun.
Oh, it's worse than you think. Trump literally ordered Barr and others to start investigations into the Bidens. They issued and had a separate little intake system for Rudy Giuliani to funnel into Bill Barr, specifically to just find something to go after the Bidens. And Biden, who you could either say cucked as he is or good faith as he was, literally kept on the special counsel that Bill Barr had set up specifically to go after the Bidens.
And David Weiss is literally a Trump appointee. What the?
Yep, 100%.
And they had like a plea deal like on the table and everything, and then they
Joe Biden in his statement today was completely factually correct. I'm still against the pardon, but in terms of the factual statement that Joe Biden made, it's completely true. This would never have happened if this were anyone else but Biden. He's saying completely accurate things. Even the fact that they had a deal, the DOJ had a deal with Hunter Biden, and they reneged on that deal to charge him with the maximum, to get him for years for the gun thing that's never been done, or to go after someone for tax that if this were any other person, they just like refile and pay a penalty.
Like they did with Roger Stone, who had over $2 million owed.
Yeah. And the MAGA people, they're acting like this is a cover up. They're acting like really this is trying to cover the Burisma stuff, which is a total hoax.
Dude, I blew him off. I got so mad when we were talking today that I remember that the Pierce people had texted me a few days ago. So I was texting them when we were chatting. So I'm going on tomorrow morning. Bro, I know this is going to come up.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind. Holy shit.
100p, bro. Dude. Go
I think I'm just going to
hard.
ask. I think I'm literally just going to ask. Why did like nobody even talks about this? Do you know anything about the Blackwater people that
That he pardoned.
that Trump pardoned that like killed civilians in Iraq? What the? What is he? What could you possibly say for this?
Yeah. Yeah. They like murdered people.
They were literally tried and convicted in U.S. court. Do you know how hard it is to get convicted in U.S. court for like foreign crimes?
Got 10 minutes left on the stream, guys.
Like,
You gotta make it.
And these are the people who are anti-war. These are supposedly. They're not. They're fascists.
Of course not.
They're pro-war.
Dude, no, because you know that like all these same people, and there would be like a dramatic irony to it, that like if a tape were to leak and Putin had said like, oh, Donald Trump, that dude is a small dick, we would be the strongest defenders of Ukraine in the world come January 20th. Trump would be like, at NATO, nukes, I don't know what that is. Our whole military is literally going to Kiev and we're going to destroy Russia because I saw that tape that Putin said, like it would be over. That's how swingy but every single MAGA person would be like, oh yeah, hello,
Yeah.
Trump is a strong president. Of course we're going to back him in war. What do you mean, Russia? Yeah, of course we should fight Russia. Like they said these things about our leader. We need to be strong. Like they would switch on it's literally 1984.
They're literally pro-corruption. They're just pro-corruption. Have you ever Richard Hanea? Remember that guy? He's sometimes says some smart things. He says a lot of dumb things, but he says something that's so true, which is take the not Greg Abbott, his attorney general, Ken Paxton, right? Ken Paxton went through this entire impeachment proceeding. You'll have to read into that sometime. I know you don't have time right now. And basically, it was just insiders from his own office that say, look, this guy's corrupt as shit. He's like doing all this crazy stuff with investigations. And so it's basically just internal people. And it's not even like, compare that to the New Jersey Senate Menendez situation, right? The Democrats widely condemned what Menendez did. They did, like, the support of Menendez went down significantly, but everyone kind of rallied around behind Ken Paxton in Texas, even though it was like insanely obvious he did corrupt shit. Same shit with like Ron Blagojevich. Ron Blagojevich was like selling Obama's Senate seat after he was elected president, and the Democrats just like totally.
Thank you so much,
him.
Sophia.
Indicted,
Thank you.
Shamed.
Women W.
And he was pardoned by Donald
carry
Trump.
the funding
and
of this stream.
Like
Thank you.
MAGA loves him. They're just in favor of corruption.
Pisco, do you have the fact that Donald Trump pardoned people who were lying on his behalf and publicly said as much. I'm talking about Stone and Bannon and Flynn, really, who said as much. Okay, at least Stone did. Bannon might have, I don't remember. I know Stone did. And then they got convicted for lying and for continuing to lie, and Stone for telling somebody else to lie to protect the president. And he pardoned those people.
I think you might have missed Manafort there too.
No, well, I don't know. Manafort technically wasn't, I don't think, convicted for wrongdoings related to Trump. But I'm saying that was still bad that Trump pardoned him. But I'm saying that Stone and Bannon was kind of for other stuff, but Stone especially was convicted for obstruction relating to questions that were literally related to Trump's campaign.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it doesn't get more corrupt than that. That's literally, and Stone literally said, what, you think I'm going to squeal on the president? Like he made a public statement to that effect. Like literally, and Trump literally pardoned that guy.
Why would anyone ever squeal or whistleblow and just get blown up like Michael Cohen did, right? Michael Cohen, he's really in retrospect kind of a bitch. He pled guilty and he like renounced everything. And
why
he went to jail.
Why would you ever do that? Yeah, when Trump is going to he's an actual
dude. It's so fun. All right, so back to the Blackwater pardon. You know who Blackwater was founded by?
Nice.
No, do I even want to know?
Eric Prince. Do you want to know who
Eric Prince, former? Oh Jesus.
Do you want to know whose sister Eric Prince's sisters?
What is some Trump? Oh, Devo? No, who?
Betsy DeVos.
Betsy DeVos, the brother of former U.S. Secretary. Oh, jeez.
DeVos?
DeVos.
Is it DeVos?
DeVos, yeah.
DeVos? Oh, I don't know.
So like you can make these a million of these connections. Every single one of these pardons, what he did with Kushner, they're all it. There's no one.
This is so right. Yeah. If you could just like give all this information to MAGA, but say these guys are all Democrats, you would have the charts of all the connections in like 2 seconds, and they'd be like, "Why did we waste our time with Hunter Biden, Burisma, and Shokin?"
And the media didn't spend 1 second on it. They didn't spend a single second.
Could you imagine sicking Rob Noor on this? He wouldn't have to go to Claude or ChatGPT. He'd be like, "Holy fuck! There's like a treasure trove of insane." That's all right here in the open and like connected on everything.
Dude. Yeah. And some of these people are getting like
Crazy that you guys are
appointments.
swinging at Rob.
What are
What's
you
the
gonna say?
topic for Piers tomorrow? Yeah, what's the topic for Piers tomorrow?
Who knows?
I'm
precisely?
going to ask the two. I'm going to refuse to answer any question, and I'm just going to ask over and over again. Give me one good reason why Trump pardoned the Blackwater guys, and do you acknowledge that Donald Trump pardoning Roger Stone, who obstructed an investigation into Trump, is one of the is basically the most corrupt way. I'm thinking like hyperbolic. I don't even know if that's hyperbolic. I think that is the most corrupt way, like in kind. Maybe he could have done a worse crime, but I think that is the most corrupt way to do a pardon, right? I want you to do something for me that's illegal and then lie about it and get convicted for lying about it, but don't actually reveal the thing. And then I'm going to pardon you. It is the most corrupt way to use a pardon.
Steven, you have to set them up in real time. This is how you set them up. Wait, so you guys agree that this pardon is corrupt as fuck, right? The Joe Biden pardon is super corrupt.
No, I can't even give that because you'll say, yes, I'm glad we agree with that. And then I'll mute my mic and go to the next person. I'm like, ah!
You won't have time to do that? Because if you set them up...
I'm not granting anything. I won't grant a thing. No,
I'm not asking you to actually grant it. I'm not asking you to actually grant it. You set them up and you say, I just have a quick question. Piers, you think this is corrupt, right? And you ask them the question and you're like, and you get them to say, or one of the panels to say, of course it's corrupt. He's pardoning his own son. Of course it's corrupt. I've always thought it's corrupt. And then you hit them with whatever example you have. Once you set them up, I think that works so effectively.
Yeah, but I think they'll just do the whataboutism. Well, that's whataboutism. We all agree that Trump's done bad things.
I don't know.
The American people, Destiny, voted for Donald Trump despite knowing that he did these things.
Yeah, and they also voted for Joe Biden. So each. Do I want to look into the Charles Kushner stuff, or I might want to kill myself even more?
Really bad.
What did he? What was his stuff involving?
I think he just objectively committed crimes.
Yeah, I mean he was. Yes. So if you want to, so
is Charles Kushner related to?
Yes,
his father.
He's Jared Kushner's dad.
Yes,
he's been nominated to ambassador to France. This guy.
Wait, are you sure they're related? It's not just a coincidence on the name.
It's Jared Kushner's
part
dad.
Of why he didn't pass a security clearance?
He was so just so you're aware, like he was prosecuted by Chris Christie.
That's pretty funny. Jesus Christ. It's like the same shit as Hunter Biden. In 2005, he was convicted of illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, and witness tampering after hiring a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, arranging to record a sexual encounter between the two, and sending the tape to his sister. What the fuck?
Dude, these are some of the most
sister?
corrupt.
That's like a movie plot. What?
Yeah, I mean it's not even contested. No one contests these facts. They hardly ever contest the facts of this Trump shit. They're just like, who cares?
I mean, he was literally, yeah. I mean, he was convicted, right? Jury trial, convicted, everything. Like, what? I mean, what are you gonna?
Sparred. Like everyone, no one says like he didn't do it. And he's gonna be the ambassador to France. This degenerate. And his son had a $2 billion deal with the Saudis at the end of his tenure as whatever minister without portfolio, advisor without any position. And negotiating all the international deals with Israel. He's going to be an ambassador to this country, to France, one of our most important allies.
Seems like a conflict of interest. Like he maybe shouldn't have had that position while he's related to Donald Trump. I don't know. That was sarcasm. Sarcasm.
No, I'm not. No. I understand. I know you're being sarcastic. I just don't. I don't know what you even. It's like the most mask off shit ever.
Also, he's a billionaire too. Kushner. He's one of the richest people. He owns a shit ton
now
of property
or even from before.
Yeah, he's a current billionaire. Oh, his net worth.
I'm saying, like, was he a billionaire before Trump took office?
In 1985, Charles Kushner began managing his father's portfolio of 4,000 New Jersey apartments. So it sounds like. Yeah, in 1999, he won the Ernst & Young New Jersey Entrepreneur of the Year award. At the time, Kushner companies had grown to more than 10,000 residential apartments, a home building business, commercial and industrial properties, and a community bank. Jesus Christ. Why is this guy even committing felonies? What's wrong with you? Why? Why did he even do this?
They're going to be in charge of like the transition. Like Jared still has a shit of influence. That's Ivanka's father-in-law. It's all incestuous. This is a new Andrew Jackson, a new spoil system. And they're going to pass legislation to increase their riches. They're going to get new tariffs, new regulations that's just going to increase their net worth.
It's just unreal.
Pisco, what do you think of the Hunter Biden pardon, and what do you think people should say about it? Like, what do you think politicians should say with regards to it?
I disagree with it, but I would not have a discussion about its whether or not it was a good idea or bad idea without first doing what Steven is planning on doing on Piers Morgan, which is like I'm not even going to.
Obviously,
I'm not going to give
like,
it
it's
air
bad,
until
but Republicans took us this way.
It's
no, it's
bad.
the same thing with the vaccine. If somebody came up to me and they said, "I'm not going to vaccinate myself because I don't want to put that shit in my body," and this person like is a live off the land, like no hormone food eating, like pure, I'd be like, okay, it's kind of dumb, but like I get it. If somebody says like I disagree with the Hunter Biden pardon, I say, oh, okay, that's cool. Hold on, have you said anything about any of Trump's pardons ever?
Yeah, and if the answer is no,
then in that case, yourself the thickest, strongest to hold your body.
I would only have this debate with like Josiah, Steven, someone with like who I think is good faith in these discussions, or someone who will also acknowledge that Trump is corrupt as fuck.
I would say though,
and even I wouldn't even try to make it a big deal, because the fact that we would blow it up like the media is right now and making it a big thing is insane.
You'll only have this discussion with
I would
people who
also say
agree
that,
with everything that you think.
No. I would say this. I don't think you could argue that the pardon was bad, just that he shouldn't have lied about it. Maybe that he shouldn't have said.
I would argue both.
Why? How is the pardon bad?
It's not a lie.
What case should you ever pardon anybody ever, if not in this case?
Well, here it's not the fact of the pardon; it's the process by the pardon, which is more important, in my opinion. Is that
the blanket immunity?
Well, it's that. It's kind of that. It is a very broad scope, but it's the fact that he didn't recuse himself from it. When he has there's a potential for an improper purpose, in my opinion. Which is not.
Who didn't recuse himself from what?
That Joe Biden didn't recuse himself from the decision of whether or not to pardon Hunter Biden. That is what I think.
Isn't he the only person that can, or can he pass that down?
What I'm saying is he should have granted the decision making, whatever the determination, to some like non-conflicted party to come to that determination, and then have accepted whatever the result is of whoever it is that he sort of granted that authority to, or granted that determination skill.
Has this ever been done in the history of any governor, any president?
What I'm asking Joe Biden to do is something for which there's really not a lot of precedent. There's no precedent that presidents don't use their pardons politically, just so you're aware. Like presidents have done this for history, obviously with Gerald Ford's pardons, Bush's pardons, Clinton's pardons, everyone has used this pardon power politically as fuck. I'm imposing as my standard. My standard is something which probably there is no precedent for presidents being this, what I think is ethical with the pardon power, because I think most presidents have exercised it politically and in a bad way. So that's all I'm saying, is that I don't think that Biden's pardon or any worse or better than precedent of other pardons, and I'm just imposing my ethical system of what I think an ethical president would do. That's all I'm saying. Okay. But in terms of like the history of presidents, Bush had horrible pardons, Clinton had horrible pardons, Trump had the worst pardons, Ford had a bad pardon with Nixon. So yeah, a ton of really bad pardons. And there's no like precedent of the pardon power being above politics. The pardon power in recent memory has been like all of the major uses of it, I feel like, have been political. Trump just like pardoned a bunch of rappers and hip hop people who he just agreed with him.
Yeah. ASAP Rocky. What the
So like it's really it's a joke that people are trying to pretend that this is like some sacrosanct thing. I think it should be, which is why I have a higher standard, but I'm not going to waste my breath when there's so much, to answer your question, Sherry, when there's so much corruption coming. I'm not going to waste my time and clog the airwaves with talking about this when it's like the smallest instances of what I would consider corruption that is available.
I can't wait till I get to the Federalist paper that talks about why the pardons even exist, because I know you said they're like inherited from the kings or whatever, but
I don't understand. Why do you call this corruption?
Because, do you want me to explain? So
yeah,
I think
I'm gonna give you this because I want you to compare it to Bill Clinton, right?
Yeah.
Bill Clinton told us I did not have sexual relations with that woman or whatever, and obviously he
Well,
did. And you kind of
Well,
understood.
that the statement of the press is different than what he said in
Let me
deposition.
fucking
Statement
say.
in
Let me
deposition
fucking
was
talk. Let me
there
fucking
was
say my
questionable.
shit.
Go ahead.
Shut
Go
the
ahead.
fuck up. So he said I didn't have sexual relations, whatever. And most Democrats are like, I understand why he felt the need to say that. I understand why he lied to the American people. Like sometimes you speak like politically, you speak for your political image than you do the truth. And I would say I don't like calling this like that bill is obviously lying. I think what Biden did is not even close to a lie in that regard, right? I think he just really wanted to seem like he believes in the justice system, that he's going to go through the court systems and shit like that. And so he's not going to tamper in, but he didn't do anything wrong by invoking his ability, right? I don't like
wouldn't
calling
say
that
it's corrupt.
corruption.
No. So first we have to agree on something sort of conceptual. Is it even possible for a pardon to be corrupt? Which is kind of what the second part of what you just said was raising, which is it's a power that he absolutely has. I would argue that yes, it's possible for a use of power to be corrupt. That you can only abuse a power that you have, right? You can't abuse a power that you've never had. So I think conceptually there is such thing as a corrupt pardon. For example, if someone simply just bribed, and in many ways you could see a lot of what Trump did in his first pardons as kind of pseudo bribes. But if someone just bribed the president, said, I will give you $100,000 in exchange for a pardon, I think all of us would agree that it would be a corrupt pardon. So I think that conceptually there is such a thing as a corrupt pardon. The first part of your question is like, well, is it corrupt to lie to the American people? I don't know if lying is something that I would consider corrupt. Politicians lie. That's like bread and butter. What I'm talking about with respect to corrupt is the use of power for an improper purpose. And when I say improper purpose, I mean a purpose that is not the purpose for which a president is supposed to use their power. You're supposed to use your power in furtherance in the benefit of the American people and in trust with the American people. We would say that someone is abusing their power if, for example, they're using the power to entrench themselves in office, or they're using their power for personal remuneration, or they're using their power to personally benefit family members. Those are kinds of, I would say, historically viewed upon as improper purposes. I can't give you a more broad encapsulation of what those purposes are, other than to just list them out. Right, doing something for a sexual favor, improper purpose. And so I would categorize helping a family member because they are your family member and not for other reasons is an improper purpose. And not recusing yourself in that moment and making it seem that, like, to any, I think, observer, that the only reason that he's being pardoned is because he's his son, and I think that is actually the rationale. I think that's an improper purpose. It's not to promote the purposes of the pardon. I think it's to help his son.
Yeah, in my opinion, Bill Clinton said what he said because he probably agrees that someone in the White House, someone in the position of the president, probably shouldn't be an adulterous slut. Probably shouldn't admit to coming on that woman. Probably not a good look. So he said what he said in shame and probably to try to have dignity for the president's office. And I think that's the same situation with Biden. I think Biden, as the president, should not act as if the justice system, as if our government body is corrupt and that he can't trust the people in charge. And I think that's why he said what he said. Now, I'm not going to tamper in. I have faith in justice or whatever, the outcome that they will come to, right? I trust our government. And that's exactly why this fucking didn't happen, because he's saying, I was fucking wrong. This shit is corrupt. This is political. That's why I'm pardoning my son.
Yeah, I agree that it's better that he didn't.
Huge.
He didn't interfere with the DOJ, which I think is better than.
No, but he ends up, he shows face like you should not interfere. You should trust in the system, right? We look down on Trump for not trusting the system, but on his way out, he says, I don't trust the system.
You think that is corrupt or is not corrupt?
What'd you say?
You think that it is corrupt or not corrupt? Sorry, I'm not following. My apologies.
I think he is essentially on the same side as Trump. I think what he decided to say first and foremost. No, not that's a very Trumpian move. He decided while he was president, we're all going to look down on Trump by implying like the DOJ is corrupt and you can't trust the the democracy and all of the people that we put in charge. We're going to look down on him for saying that. And I'm going to be above it by saying, I won't pardon my son. I trust the government. I trust the political process. But that was just to save face. That's because he thinks that's what the president should do. And on his way out, he's like, bruh, this shit is corrupt. I'm pardoning my son.
Okay, but what if he had like, all right, now I'm going to give you a scenario that I think will make it seem more Trumpy, and you'll agree with me or you'll not agree with me. What if Biden had said this like maybe before the conviction, like before he actually was convicted? He said, I don't like how this is going. There was a deal, so I'm ordering the attorney general to stop the investigation. Would you agree with that and say it's not corrupt, or would you say it's corrupt?
What do you mean?
So what if Biden came to the same conclusion?
I think it's the same. It's the same outcome.
Yeah, he has the power.
In a moment where you feel like politically your image as the president should align with a trust in government, you will say that. But if it comes down to outcome, you're going to put the political hat off and you're going to try to actually like protect your own, because you know that you're going up against a corrupt and a politically motivated system.
Hold on, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I would disagree that those are even remotely the same thing, right? Like telling your AG not to do a thing is seen as a massive violation of norms. A pardon is literally always going against your AG definitionally, right? Because if you pardon somebody as the president, you can only pardon people from federal convictions, which necessarily stem from the Department of Justice. So like pardons are literally made to counteract something that a federal prosecutor would convict somebody for.
Agree, but there's also a DOJ, like the DOJ shouldn't be going after unjust cases, right? So the president has the authority to both stop investigations and to issue pardons, however they see fit. You would see a distinction in you would like condemn Joe Biden stopping or ordering the Department of Justice to not proceed to sentencing on Hunter Biden and dropping the case. You would condemn that, but you wouldn't condemn him just waiting a month and then pardoning him.
No, I feel like if you felt like that behavior was going on, ordering the DOJ to do something would be improper. You would fire the attorney general and then bring on somebody different.
So would you condemn that action if Joe Biden like fired Merrick Garland? He's like, because Merrick Garland wouldn't get rid of David Weiss, and you're like, this investigation is unjust. I'm ordering you to stop it and not proceed to sentencing because this is my son, and I think this is an unfair process for all the same reasons he laid out in his statement, and he just did it through the DOJ as opposed to a pardon. Would you say one is corrupt and one is not?
It would depend on the strength of the argument at that point.
Well, it's the same argument. I'm telling you is like, he's seen the case, right? And in one instance, he just is stopping it before it proceeds to sentencing by ordering the Department of Justice to drop the case and not make arguments and to, issue some whatever they have to issue in front of the court to stop the sentencing, or just pardoning him like he did in the moment. I mean, I don't really see a distinction. I think the president has the power to do both.
There is a huge distinction, right?
I don't see one.
You keep saying the president has the power. That's like kind of.
Who does?
I mean, the president also has the power to ignore anything the Supreme Court says and anything that comes from the legislature, right? Yes?
No.
No? The president can't ignore a law from Congress?
The president cannot ignore a law from Congress.
Yes, he can.
You're arguing against the like immunity decision and things like that. I hear you on that.
The president could ignore it, but I'm saying like he's not supposed to, right? It's the same way that the president is not supposed to like give orders directly to the DOJ to like directly order them to do it. It's considered like a massive violation of norms.
But it's not illegal. It's his power, and part of I'm following the doctrine laid out by the Supreme Court, which says that the president's one of its chief responsibilities, executive branch, is to direct the Department of Justice. If the president wanted to get the Department of Justice to stop an investigation into his son, he has the power to do that. And just like that, he has the power to, if he wanted to, pardon his son.
Isn't the entire purpose of the attorney general to appoint a special counsel or a special prosecutor literally to create that separation?
Yes, that is the purpose of it. But the special counsel, that's a regulation of the Department of Justice, and the president is in charge of the Department of Justice.
Okay, then why would special prosecutors even exist? They should just say like, well, technically
it's just a policy. It's just a policy of the Department of Justice.
Well, yeah, but you're saying that like materially there'd be no difference between the president shutting down an investigation and shutting down a special counsel, right?
Shutting down investigation and shutting down a special counsel.
You're saying that in practice there's no difference, but I mean, like clearly there is, right?
Wait, I'm asking you just a very simple thing, right? Like, I agree that there would be other kind of issues raised by in terms of norms of stopping the special
I think
counsel.
pardoning somebody is a power given to the president. It doesn't require a massive, egregious violation of norms and all that. I think that pardoning somebody who's going to be convicted of a thing is a lot different than going into the DOJ and like changing it because you don't like where a thing is going. I think they're different.
But
You
they're
could
different
argue that
because what if they're motivated by the same exact thing?
they're still different actions, I think.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.